When people talk about the origins of economic thought, they usually jump to Adam Smith, Karl Marx, or maybe Aristotle. But there's a quieter truth hiding in the medieval world, a truth Western timelines often skip. Nearly 1,000 years ago, during the Islamic Golden Age, a scholar looked at money and issued a warning that still echoes across financial crises today. When money loses its moral compass, societies rot from the inside out. His name was Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali. Welcome to the Hidden Money History, where money, power, and history collide, and nothing is ever as simple as it looks. To understand Al-Ghazali, you have to picture the world around 1100 CE. Europe is fragmented and poor, still rebuilding after centuries of instability. But across the Islamic world, cities are wealthy, crowded, sophisticated. Trade routes pulse with caravans carrying silk, spices, textiles, metals. Markets are busy. Scholarship is alive. Baghdad, Damascus, Cairo. These aren't just cities. They're intellectual and commercial engines. And as wealth expands, something else expands too. Inequality, temptation, and the urge to cheat the system. This is where Al-Ghazali becomes dangerous, because he wasn't the type of thinker who only talked about philosophy in the clouds. He could speak about the purpose of the soul and the purpose of money in the same breath. He rises fast through the scholarly world. He gains prestige, influence, status. And then he notices a contradiction that feels painfully modern. The economy is thriving outwardly, but decaying inwardly. People are getting richer, but trust is getting thinner. So he asks a question that still hits like a knife. What happens when a civilization gets rich faster than it gets wise? And to answer that, he doesn't start with prices or profits. He starts with the nature of money itself. This is what surprises many viewers. Al-Ghazali treated money as more than a tool of exchange. He treated it as a force that shapes incentives, behavior, and social trust. His first principle is simple. Money is not meant to be worshipped. It's meant to be used. Money is a bridge, not a destination. If you turn the bridge into the destination, society begins chasing the symbol instead of the substance. And from that foundation comes his first major warning. Hoarded money is dead money. Wealth locked away doesn't circulate. It doesn't pay workers. It doesn't fund trade. It doesn't support families. It blocks the flow of economic life. He compares the effect of freezing the bloodstream of society. And here's why that matters. When circulation slows, the damage spreads outward. Scarcity grows. Not because goods vanished, but because movement is blocked. Prices distort. Opportunity shrinks. Resentment rises. Then Al-Ghazali moves to his second warning, the one that sounds like modern economics, just without the jargon. Markets don't collapse first. Trust collapses first. He attacks dishonest trade, cheating with weights, hiding defects, lying about quality, manipulating information, creating artificial shortages to force higher prices. Because every smart trick teaches society one lesson. You cannot trust the market. And once that belief spreads, transactions become harder. People spend more time verifying, guarding, arguing, enforcing. Trade slows. Cooperation breaks. The economy follows. Now here's the key point. Al-Ghazali wasn't against profit. He wasn't against business. He believed trade was natural and necessary. His target was profit without contribution. Profit built on manipulation, crisis exploitation, and deception. Because that kind of profit doesn't just hurt one victim, it poisons the rules of the game. And once the rules feel poisoned, people stop playing fairly. Then Al-Ghazali turns his attention upward, toward the most dangerous source of economic decay, corruption at the top. In his time, rulers sometimes diluted coins to stretch budgets. They reduced the precious metal content, kept the same face on the coin, and pushed the cost onto the public. To Al-Ghazali, this wasn't clever policy. It was theft, because currency is a promise. And when the state poisons the promise, the damage doesn't stay in the palace. It spreads through every market stall and every household. He warns that unjust rulers destroy prosperity faster than any outside enemy. And his logic is brutal. When leaders model deception, deception becomes normal. If a ruler cheats the people, merchants feel justified cheating customers. If institutions fail integrity, individuals stop seeing any reason to be responsible. The entire economic order becomes a chain reaction of distrust. This is why his conclusion is so sharp. A society can survive poverty, but it cannot survive corruption. Because economic collapse is rarely about running out of resources. It's about the breakdown of trust, the invisible glue behind every transaction, contract, and currency. And this is where his ideas feel modern. Once people stop believing the money, they don't need an economist to explain it. They feel it. Prices become unpredictable. Savings feel unsafe. Contracts weaken. People search for stronger alternatives. Foreign currency, hard assets, anything that feels more believable. Because money is not only metal, paper, or digits. Money is shared belief. And when shared belief breaks, even a wealthy society becomes fragile. Al-Ghazali's deeper message is not be nice. It's practical. You cannot fix an economy without fixing incentives. If a system rewards hoarding over circulation, speculation over contribution, and deception over honesty, it might look successful on the surface, but it becomes brittle underneath. So here's the modern mirror. A society doesn't collapse because the numbers stop adding up. It collapses because people stop trusting each other, because incentives reward the wrong behaviors, because institutions fail to uphold fairness. And once trust erodes, everything becomes more expensive, not just in money, but in time, energy, conflict, and fear. So I'll end with a question designed for the comments. If you could change one rule of the financial system to rebuild trust, what would it be? Would you punish currency manipulation harder? Would you limit crisis profiteering? Would you redesign incentives so contribution beats speculation? Write your answer below. Subscribe for more stories where money and history collide, because history doesn't repeat, but it does leave patterns. And if you don't recognize them, they recognize you.